Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayla's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Glad to have you along. Thank you for joining us no matter how or where you're finding us, whether it's on one of our great radio station affiliates like 97.7 ESPN, The Ref, always the right call down in Evansville, or 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJOB, the voice of the region, and on 1380, The Fan, Fort Wayne Sports Station. Hopefully, everyone having a great day. If you're following along on social media, also make sure you hit the subscribe, notifications toggle, all that stuff. You know how it goes. How's your day going? Pacers can't get it done in 5, but they hope to finish out the Knicks in 6. Sounds like a little Muhammad Ali going on. But we'll talk to Chris Denari today, the television voice of the Pacers, as he'll join us as they'll try to get this done back home again in Indiana as they get to come home to Gamebridge Fieldhouse to try to get this done in Game 6 tomorrow night as the games keep coming at us. But not really shocked that they lost up in New York. I mean, what are they, 6-2 on the road now? Pretty damn good for anybody. But New York is not exactly just Joe Schmo, so they weren't going to give up without a fight. And last night, boy, they didn't really have an answer for Karl Anthony Towns for a minute. But Todd Leary will join us as well. We'll talk some Pacers as well, but also plenty of IU basketball, as well as still coming back from Hubers. A lot of information, that we've heard from. We didn't get to hear everything. We'll hear again from both coaches. Some great stuff from Alec Lazley at thehoosier.com. Make sure you're going there. Get yourself a subscription while you can for just $1 for the first month and 50% off for the rest. Gary, tons of great pieces in there. There's a piece in there right now about Rod Clark and what he brings to Indiana by Kyler Staley. But Alec has got a lot of stuff up there as well, and we'll be talking about that. Indiana football has announced kickoff times for some of their games. It came out that numerous games, but a lot of these kickoff times were or, and I'm like, don't give me that crap. I already know what the options are. It's noon, 3:30, 4, 7:30. That's pretty much it. Well, there's, I think, 3 different times. I tried to look up because I wrote it all down on my big poster. But the first game with Old Dominion is locked in at 2:30. Kind of an unusual start time. Trying to think, that wouldn't make sense for Big Ten Network, but who knows? Noon for the second game in, and with Kennesaw State. And then the Indiana State game is a Friday game, which hate those. 2 of those this year, though, Friday game at either 6 or 7:30. Now, and I saw that it's going to be at 7:30 on NBC. So that would take the 6 o'clock time slot away if that is actually the case. Illinois is going to be at either noon 3:30 or 4. Take your pick. But yeah, no kidding, people. That's dependent upon, does Fox want that for their big noon kickoff? That would be the noon slot most likely, or you could put Big Ten there. But 3:30, I think that's a CBS game. And 4 o'clock, I'm not sure where that swings back to. But the Indiana-Illinois game is going to be a tasty morsel for some of these TV networks. And they're waiting to see, I guess, is Indiana, going to do it again? Well, of course they are. Illinois is already looked at as, everyone calls them a preseason top 25 team. I've seen them in the top 10. So it will be interesting to see how highly ranked that they really are. But that is going to be a tasty, tasty game. And so Indiana looking to get some national exposure right off the bat. See, the Michigan State game has been given a time of 3:30 or 4. So again, that's CBS waiting to see what Indiana is doing. The only other time schedule I've seen so far, and this one is one set, apparently. Maybe this is the one that's going to be on NBC that I read. Friday night, another Friday night game in West Lafayette against the Boilermakers, 7:30. So we'll see. But times are slowly slide up. But they're not going to be coming out because these things are all going to be contingent upon grabbing some TV slots, which is great, which is a problem Indiana's not used to having. But CBS, NBC, Fox, they all want their little piece of the pie here. And if Indiana's going to be putting on the show, they want their piece of Signetti, baby. Absolutely they do. And we'll hear from Kurt. Well, maybe we can hear from him now if we wanted to, I guess. There's no reason, nothing that stops us from hearing from Kurt now. Again, the featured speaker, the first non-basketball featured speaker ever at the Hubers event this past Wednesday. Rick Bozich and myself were talking about that. Prior to that, he asked the question first, which on here on the show, which was I told him, I was like, that's a great question. And it was, but it did not take long for us to figure out that, yeah, I don't see, Kurt Signetti is a hard act to follow. And if you were fortunate to be at Hubers, you'd see why. I mean, he's pretty humorous on his radio show with Don Fisher, and Don loves the hell out of it because he can be himself a little bit and relax, not worry about craziness. But Signetti enjoys it. You can tell he enjoys the interaction. He enjoys being Kurt Signetti, and there's nothing wrong with that. It'd be nice if we could all do ourselves. But he's gonna always be a tough act to follow. I don't know in the future if they rotate that, but it's going to be very interesting. And we'll just have to wait and see. But we shall see. We shall be free, as we shall see. But a little bit more from.
Wow, it's been a long time, huh?
Yeah, but I want to scoot it down a little bit further where we didn't hear yesterday. Here's a little bit more from Kurt Signetti.
Then when you bring new guys into your system, everybody's system's a little bit different, so they all got development, right? But I think, right now the second team quarterback today, would be the younger brother, Fernando Alberto. And he had a nice spring. He's got a good skill set. But every day you go out there, you compete for a job. Nobody owns a job. You got to earn that job every single day.
Fernando Mendoza. I'm normally not able to do that early in the show. But Fernando, the perceived starter, and number 2, Alberto. So the Fernando brothers rocking and rolling in that top slot, as I kind of expected, with Tyler Cherry having to move down with his injury. But hope everybody's doing well. Got plenty to get to. Todd Leary joining us here. We'll talk about those Pacers as well. The throwing Menendez. Oh, almost said Menendez brothers. Damn. The throwing Mendoza brothers. Yeah, high flying act. Indiana's high flying Mendoza brothers. You can see those posters going up, can't you? Got lots to talk about. Cheryl Sizemore says Pascal was awesome. Yeah, glad you brought that up. I mean, come on. When is the Indy Star going to say enough is enough? I don't like to talk about, I never have ever talked about other media members here. That's not my deal. I'm the last person that needs to talk about anybody. But I don't even have to talk about anybody. That's the great thing. I don't have to say a word. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, what the hell? Fishing. Have you never played a sport? They got out fought, which meant the other team found it within themselves to work harder this game. I don't understand what is so hard to understand about that. But some people either don't understand it or are just really fishing to turn it into something it's not. I mean, oh well. Hey, let's take a quick pause. Get the Todd father in here hopefully next. And Cheryl Sizemore, by the way, greatest realtor in the world. If you need somebody, especially in the Indianapolis area, make your life a lot easier. Trust me. Cheryl Sizemore sells at gmail.com. Lots more coming up. There you go, Ed. The Knicks wanted it more. Oh my. That's funny. Not me saying that. Hey, we've got more coming up. I promise you. On the other side.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Rye, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the hard truth.
Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Friday, and that means a visit from the Todd father, Todd Leary, joining us. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Cannot complain. I was just talking about the Pacers and got beat last night. Got outworked. I'm not sure if you saw the exchange with Pascal Siakam. I just happened to see it later, but we'll just say a local reporter asked him what happened, and he said, well, we got outworked, and you know how it goes. You'd have those nights where other teams seem to find it within themselves to do more, and it's not that you don't feel you're doing less, but that just happens. It looked like the Pacers have had a lot of those themselves against other teams, but the reporter kept digging and like, well, what do you mean you got outworked? How'd you get outworked? How's it? And Pascal was trying his best to be gracious, and then finally at the end, he's like, "You good, bro?" He's like, "What the?" It was great. He was like, "Man," I think he was like, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "Who?" And then finally, he's like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And then you heard him say his name. He was like, "Oh." And it was just, I was waiting for him to do this, to give one of those. And, but that didn't happen, the heart sign. But, the Pacers, I'd be honest with you. I didn't expect them to win that game last night. I didn't think the Knicks were going to lay down. They're no Joe Schmo. They beat the Celtics, the reigning champs. They were not going to get beat 4-1. Plus, you're up in Madison Square Garden. You had Spike Lee all dressed up on the sideline in that suit, man. Hell, I don't know how anybody scored with that suit. I'd be looking at that every time down the court, that thing he had on. But yeah, plus, that gives them an opportunity to come back, win it in 6 at home, and be done with it.
Yeah, and sometimes coaches don't like to hear this. Players don't like to hear it either, but sometimes you have to look at a big picture perspective in a series. And that is, I think, exactly what you said at the beginning of that comment or question is you didn't expect them to win that game. Like you don't expect them to win game 1 and 2 when they went into Madison Square Garden and won. And so when they do that, yeah, it's awesome, but it ups the expectations. You think, okay, we should win every game now. But you have to look at the bigger picture. And when you look at the big picture of that series, take the team names off of it. Take all the players' names off of it. You go look at the team that's seeded higher, playing at home in game 5 of a series that they're down 3-1. They're in a must-win situation. And you would expect that team to win. Like most people that have played sports, I think, not to pick on anyone or call anyone out, but I mean, that reporter probably has never been in a heated battle where things just don't go your way. And the other team is very good and talented. Like you make a great point. Like those guys are good. Jalen Brunson's amazing. Cat's amazing. Like those guys are really good. It's not like you're playing a bunch of dogs that beat you out there. And so, yeah, that sometimes, as journalists / media people, whatever name you put on us, sometimes you got to try to dig a little bit and you're trying to get a scoop or ask a question that you think is going to get you an answer that I think in this case might get you some more clicks or do something like that. Yeah. But, it goes to show, and you're right. I thought he handled it. I thought Siakam handled it more professionally than a lot of us would for a long time. And then I would say ended the interview just about the way you should have, as graciously as possible, because it could have gone ugly, super ugly.
After a loss, let me tell you, right. A lot of guys would not have gone that far. they would have been done a lot sooner.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches would have been done a lot
They would have told him to F off a lot earlier in that interview than it happened. And so, you know what? I would never go that intense on someone, especially after a loss. I mean, when you think about put it this way, Siakam just spent 2.5 to 3 hours out in an arena where everybody, or 99% of the people in the arena, hate you and want you to lose. And you lost. And he's a competitive guy. They're all competitive guys. And man, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't sit right. It puts you in a bad mood. And quite frankly, I was surprised Siakam kept his cool as long as he did, because he could have very easily. He's not under contract to say anything. Now, is he supposed to do the interviews? Sure. Did he do the interview? Sure. Was he more gracious than I would have been? Yes. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it was a game the Pacers on paper probably should not have won. We've upped our expectations for them because they went in there and won game 1 and 2.
Yeah, Brunson, you mentioned him. God, he hit a three earlier that looked like he was shooting from 4 feet, and it was from 34 feet.
Yeah.
And
you know, if you've ever been in, and you don't have to be a high-level player to be in this scenario. If you've ever been in a zone a little bit where it just felt like it didn't matter what you could throw it from anywhere and it was going to go in. You could, if you've been in that scenario, you could see he was in that situation.
I cannot say that I have ever been in that scenario.
Yeah, but you probably have. You know, playing golf and doing stuff, you probably hit like 4 or 5 putts in a row that you just normally don't make, and doing stuff. Maybe not you. Yeah, you're right. No,
there you go. See, there you go.
Just kidding.
No, not
But
golf.
you know what I mean. Like that's a. You know, he was in the zone early. He actually got into the zone again, you know, late in the game. But
Cat was the beast. There was just no answer for him. And a lot of people don't have an answer for him. He's a giant but also, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but we know the NBA would love for this to go 7 games. And if it can't go 7, they'd love for it to go 6. But I don't see anything affecting that really, but
and I'm not going to sit here today and say the officials rigged that game or it was called unfairly or anything. I think the officials in the first couple of games allowed themselves to get caught up in some of the antics that Brunson does, throwing his head back when he gets hit and all that. I think they've cleaned that up. I don't think they've called as many of those in the last 3 games as they did in the first 2 games. And so I don't think the officiating was negative against the Pacers. If let's be honest, more teams win at home, 1, because the crowd is great, and 2, you get more calls when you're at home. Like, that's a fact. Whether it's high school.
And the Pacers are like 6-2 on the road right now.
Right. Whether it's high school, college, or the pros, no matter what it is, you get a few more calls at home. I think most people would agree with that. Most people that are not officials would agree with that. And, you know, in this scenario, I thought, you know, I think that I said going into the game, I'm not trying to look, I told you so, but I mean, they're not supposed to win that game. There was a fight, and New York is not going to lay down and let them just roll over them. That New York media is way worse than ours. Yeah. And so if they get beat 4-1 by the Pacers after having home court advantage, that'd be rough. So yeah, I'm sure their backs felt like they were against the wall, and you know, they came out and played well, and they got it going early, and that's hard to turn around beating a team like that in their gym when they get it going early.
Yeah, I saw I think it was a back cover of the New York Post after game 2, I think, and it had Reggie and Tyrese side by side, and it said choke 2.0, baby.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, that all plays into it. Like that's a part of it, no matter what someone wants to believe or not. Like, that's a part of it. But they're in a great position. Yeah. And look at it. I meant to say this in the last question that you asked, but I mean, how many times do you hear people say, look, once you get to professional, whether it's MLB, the NFL, or NBA, it's a business. Okay. And does the business make more money if it goes 6 games or 7 games? Yes. And so does that does anyone not think that there's a part of that falls into it? Sure, there better be. It's a business. But I don't think the officials, I don't think that they called that game unfairly. I didn't come out of that feeling like there was egregious calls against the Pacers. And so, moving forward, you would hope that the Pacers get off to the same kind of start at home tomorrow night that the Knicks did at their home. And if they do, the Pacers will probably close it out.
Yeah, and that happens a lot when you have that home crowd behind you.
Sure.
But looking at Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies have played, I don't know, they're 9-47. My point is they suck. But guess what? They've won 9 games, so that means they beat 9 people. So the worst team in probably all of professional sports have beat 9 people. Now, I don't know who they all were, and I'd love to look them up because I would imagine some of them, I wouldn't be shocked if some of them are division
first place teams. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
It happens.
And when you think about, I mean, you're making a good point at that. Like you're not just going to blow everybody out every night, but when you get to the professional level, all of these players are good. Like the guys who are not even getting off the bench are guys who were stars in college. So, you're not playing a bunch of bums out here. And I didn't expect the Pacers to win last night. It would have been awesome if they did, because now, the Knicks are only 2 games away from, winning this series. And, but the Pacers are still just 1 game away, and they got one of the next game at home. And yeah, if they lose this next game, you start to get a little nervous, because then you have to win a road game in order to advance. And right now they don't.
Just off of that last little example, one of those wins over the New York Yankees, and one of them's over the San Diego Padres. So, but yeah, no, you're right. And man, how fun have they been to watch, this Pacers club? The youth, the experience they gained from the playoffs last year when they were still a young team, and you add Pascal Siakam into this mix, and Tyrese Halliburton, boy, he's sure looking overrated. I would love to see them send that poll out to those same players again, and to see who comes back as the most overrated player this time. But he has been phenomenal. But that's this Pacer team. That's what makes them so great in my eyes. It's Tyrese a lot, but not always. It's Pascal Siakam a lot, but not always. Matherin has been quiet, and all of a sudden explodes. You don't know who it's going to be. Right. TJ McConnell, you don't know who it's going to be. They have so many guys that can jump up, and they seem to be such a well-balanced team.
Yeah, I mean, if I asked you, you go around, not just you, but I mean, you go poll people and you say, okay, tomorrow night, who's going to be the leading scorer for the Knicks? Most people are probably going to say Brunson. Some people are probably going to say Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Besides that, they're probably not going to name anybody else. And that poll is going to be like 99%. Everybody else that gives a different answer probably has the same last name as whoever they say. But you ask that about the Pacers, you could get any of 5 different answers. and that is, I think, what makes the Pacers a very difficult opponent.
I didn't even mention Nesmith.
Right. Nesmith, Nembhard, all of those guys. Miles Turner, he's been the leading scorer a couple games. Like, all of those guys could be the leading scorer. Now, Nembhard and Nesmith, I think, are the X factors. When those guys play well, now everyone else can't lay an egg, but when those guys play well, the Pacers are really, really hard to beat. And those 2 guys did not play well last night. And so, the Pacers, I would say this, even though I think Brunson is amazing and Karl Anthony Towns is amazing and all this, they would never give the answer, because, as a sports and an athlete and a coach and all that, you're not supposed to care about the other team. You just worry about yourself and your team and doing your stuff. And as long as you run your stuff well, you should win, or you should be okay. That's what players and coaches feel. But I would probably guess, even as good as Brunson and Towns are, Oklahoma City would rather play the Knicks than the Pacers, because the Pacers are unique. The Knicks are like most other teams in that they have a superstar. They have superstar 1A and 1B. And
you know what you're getting in the Knicks.
That's the way most teams in the NBA are. They got superstar 1A and 1B, and the Pacers have 1A, B, C, and D, and maybe E. And that makes them difficult to defend. Now they've got some issues. Like, they're not as good defensively all the time with some lineups on the floor, but man, I mean, they're unique right now. I think you're going to start to see more teams like the Pacers across the NBA. It won't happen in 1 year, but it'll happen in a couple of years. You'll start to see this type of ball movement. You'll start to see the ball flying all over the court, guys getting up and down the court really fast. I mean, the Pacers score as fast after a made basket sometimes as they do on a miss or even a turnover. And so I think you're going to start to see more of that. The Pacers formula will infiltrate a little bit more of the league.
Yeah, Brian asking he'd like to see more Mathurin, but what happened to Bryant? I was surprised not to see him in there against Karl Anthony Towns a little bit, just to throw some beef against him.
You know what, Jim? I'm going to chalk this up to this is the NBA, and Rick Carlisle is smarter than us.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to this. And so you look at it this way. In the next series, and it might not work out exactly in this series, but we do know in the last series the Pacers played against Cleveland, Bryant played way more. I forget the other guy's name. Is it Bradley? The guy who's been playing in place of him. He played. I mean, that guy didn't even hardly play at all. And I think it was because of the matchup. And in this game, in this series, I mean, the matchup fits Bradley better than it does Bryant. And I think Thomas Bryant might play more in the next series than Bradley does because he might fit that matchup better. And that is something the NBA does do more than college does. In college, you get your rotation, your guys are going to play, and you basically say, these are my best 8 or 9 players. In the NBA, it's a lot more matchup based. And you can watch teams all across the league, and this happens a lot where there'll be guys who don't play a lot throughout a season, and then in a certain series, they do, and that's all because of matchups.
Absolutely, and you mentioned this is how basketball could be going, and that reminds me to look at this Indiana team currently, of which we'll talk about in the next segment. But you could see something very similar from that team. We think we know who the stars might be, but we really don't. Other than Tucker DeVries, I got no idea. I'll be honest with you, but we'll talk about that. The Todd father from MyJumpShot.com is with us. Make sure you're going to MyJumpShot.com. Got a son, daughter, niece, nephew, cousins, neighbors. Who cares? Everybody needs improved fundamentals. You want to get better? Then do the things to get better. Go to MyJumpShot.com. Back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios after those Tweety birds.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios, joined by the shot father, Todd Leary from myjumpshot.com. Make sure you go there and
Caught me eating a candy bar.
That's okay. I was, when I said, when we left for the break, I said right after those Tweety Birds, because it sounds like you're down at the Masters, man.
Yeah, I'm going to play a little golf this morning.
It sounds like the fake birds that CBS pumps in, and people that don't know, those are fake bird sounds they pump into those golf matches. But this is real.
You're conspiracy. You probably think they pump noise into the Hoosier Dome too, back for Peyton Manning.
That was, I was going to say, those are the Colts, man. That was the Colts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whatever. I mean.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, Indiana. We met with Darren DeVries again at Huber's this past Wednesday. Huge event. You have probably never gotten to go down to that. And I sent you a text. I'm like, I should have thought to ask you. Go down. The food is amazing. But yeah.
Don't repeat what my response was to that.
I don't even. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, good. Thank you.
No idea what what you would mean. The thing I love about it most is it is the only time of the year that I can think of where we actually have a little bit of intimate time that's not, guarded with ropes around the coaches, and you can, hey Darren, how you doing? You just chit chat, or whatever. And so it's a great event in that regard as well. But he seemed a lot more comfortable speaking to the media this time. He was very comfortable up on the dais in front of all the people. Of course, Signetti was, he was very bashful and shy.
Yeah.
Kidding. I've talked about this a lot. He became the first non-basketball coach to be the headline speaker, by the way. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Hey, as a basketball person, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. The whole university, including the basketball program, benefits when your football team is good. Like, there's no question about it. So I don't hate that at all. And I don't think DeVries, I do think he's competitive. So, yeah, he's going to want the same kind of recognition and all of that. But I also don't think he's a media hound, and I don't think he cares that much that he isn't the headliner in that scenario. But I did meet Coach DeVries yesterday, and
awesome.
Yeah, I went in the office and talked to him a little bit, and incredibly friendly, and we spoke specifically about the event, and he was he couldn't say enough good things about it. How organized it was, how awesome it was, how great all the people were. And that's refreshing, I guess is the way to put that, because the prior coaches in the last couple of years, not all of them, but the ones in the last few regimes that we have not enjoyed that scenario and not enjoyed, the Huber Winery whole event and the way that it should be. And man, I think Coach DeVries, not only was he impressed by it, I think he enjoyed it. He sure acted like he enjoyed it. And so, that's a great sign. And you're right. I think you make a terrific point. He looked a little nervous and looked a little, nervous, I guess is the only way to put it, in his opening press conference. And he's starting to feel much more comfortable. Heck, you see him doing videos online now. They got the cool videos.
Dude.
Yeah.
Now, I talked about that. He can shoot the rock now. Those are not fake shots.
Yeah, but I'm sure that could be edited. He might have shot 70 in a row.
But he looked good shooting them.
Totally agree. I completely agree with you. And he's got a good – I mean, he played Division I, Northern Iowa, so it isn't like he can't play. So, you don't forget.
But you don't think that when you think about a coach.
I mean, all right, I'll get in trouble for saying this, but he's a short white dude. I mean, you better be able to shoot. I live that life, and I resemble those remarks very much, and you better be able to shoot. And he obviously proved he's got a good-looking stroke.
It's like Bob Knight played, but I don't – when he was coaching, you don't look at him as a basketball player because everyone knew him from coaching.
Coach Krzyzewski
Let's say
played.
this.
Tom Izzo played. Like, those guys are tiny.
Now, wait a minute. Did Tom Izzo really play?
Yeah, I think so. Didn't he?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, go back to like Dean Smith played. Dean Smith played, and that guy was super tiny.
Oh, Archie Miller played, so
there you go.
There, exactly.
You mean the same Archie Miller that told me Braden Smith couldn't play in the Big Ten? Yeah.
Is that one? Yeah.
I sat directly across from him and said, "Hey, I could deliver you Braden Smith right now." He would beg to come here right now. Now, Braden Smith loves where he's at. He's a Purdue guy. He will die.
He does
Purdue
now.
Guy. Yeah,
he does now.
But he would have loved to have come to Indiana at one point in time. And I walked into, after speaking with Dustin Smith, Braden's dad, I walked into Archie Miller and said, "Hey, look, this dude you should look at." And he told me he could not play in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I understand. You might not have been the only one to tell him that, but yeah, you would think that. Oh well.
But,
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, but yeah, he is. I guess closer to still. They got those guys stay in shape, man. But yeah, now I don't know if this story is true, and I think that Pat told this to me. PK, no, Pat Graham. That one day it was during free throw shooting, and somehow he got Knight into a free throw shooting contest, and Graham lost somehow, and Knight started to walk off, and he said, "Whoa, no, come on, let's go again." And he said, "Son, sometimes in life you just get one opportunity," and turned around and walked off.
That part of the story, I'll bet, is true. The part about Pat losing to Coach Knight in the free throw contest, it could not possibly be true.
Well,
I've seen him shoot. I saw him shoot a lot, and there's no way, unless it was one shot, and he possibly anybody can make one shot. I taught my grandma how to shoot 75% from the free throw line, and she had rheumatoid arthritis.
I knew it was something small. I'm gonna next time I get Pat on, I'm gonna have to ask him about that. It's been a long time since I've just never forgotten that.
Well, we tend to change these stories as we get older.
Yeah, they grow.
To make them sound
grow.
better. Yeah. And Coach Knight's not here anymore. He can't prove or disprove anything, so we can say whatever we want.
Yeah, that story may flip the other way now.
That's right. That's right.
But earlier we were talking about the Pacers on how you don't know who's going to be the guy. That could be this Indiana basketball team this season because while Tucker DeVries is a known commodity, the other guys are, they're known, but not known at this level per se.
Yeah. And we would be, or I think we as fans, I'm talking as fans, we'd be a little more nervous if this was year one of the portal and all that, but we're seeing teams be successful really quickly with almost all brand new players. And so that's why
guys you've never heard of.
Right. Exactly. And so, no one heard of Dalton, not nearly this many people had heard of Dalton Connect prior to his time at Tennessee. And, you can go down the list there. Kobe Bryant,
Danny Wolf.
Yeah. Kobe Bryant, all those guys. There's a long list of those people, but I'll say this, and right back to my conversation with Coach DeVries yesterday. The guys are all coming in. The whole team will be here next Monday. They're going to start their summer workouts and all that stuff. And I'll tell you the excitement and look on his face when he talked about them starting up next Monday. It gave me goosebumps. Like the one thing I think I told you when they hired him, I went to the press conference when they hired him, as you did. And we sat there and I walked away from that and I thought, okay, we got a guy that wants to work. He's a basketball guy. He wants to get out on the floor. He said to me yesterday, looking out in Cook Hall at the empty gym, and he said, this drives me crazy. The fact that there's no ball bouncing out there and no squeaking, it's wasted gym time. And if, all of us that grew up as kids trying to sneak into gyms or break into gyms or whatever you can do just to get to play, at odd times, he's a basketball guy, and I'm excited about them getting to work. I know I've spoken with Sicily's family there. He's going to be there this weekend. He's so excited to get going next week. And to your point in this question, you're right. I don't think any of us know, nor do I think the players know. Like, this is such a cool opportunity for the players because, think about it. When you're in high school or you're on your AAU team or whatever it is, you're playing with guys you've probably played with for a longer period of time. Coaches develop expectations from you. They see what you're capable of and what you can do. And you don't get that opportunity to make a first impression. I'll steal that cliche line a little bit, but you don't get that opportunity to make a first impression again. And all of these guys have that opportunity. Outside of Tucker DeVries, I think his dad knows his game pretty well. Outside of that, all of these guys are going to make a first impression on Monday, first workout, probably first possession down the floor. And this is your opportunity to, you don't need to reinvent yourself, but establish, this is what I'm good at. This is, and this is the things I need to improve on. And the coaches will help you with that side of it. But you get to determine. I can remember my first summer at Indiana. I'll be Bill Walton for a minute. My first summer at Indiana and those summer workouts and the things that Coach Knight had us stay. We had 7 guys in our recruiting class. So he wanted us there all summer long, just exactly like this scenario that the current Indiana team has. He wanted us all there playing together and, most importantly, playing with the older guys. Playing with the guys that have been through that. Tucker DeVries is an older guy, not at Indiana, but he's played Division I at this level for a long time. So he can help the younger guys out. I think this scenario for Trent Sicily, I do not think there's anything in the world that could have worked out better for Trent Sicily than getting to come in and play with Tucker DeVries. Their games are extraordinarily similar. His dad, the coach at Indiana, Tucker's dad, knows how to coach a guy that plays like that. And you're going to get on the job training right off the bat. And so that's, these guys have that great opportunity to come in there and give a first impression and work on things all summer long. And I remember that summer when we came in, I can tell you, Calbert Chaney established himself as the best player in our recruiting class. This includes Lawrence Funderburk, Pat Graham, McDonald's All-American, Greg Graham, McDonald's All-American, Chris Lawson, 6'10", big time player. Calbert established himself from day one. And I think every one of us that were there would tell you that. When you have Pat Graham back on here and Pat Knight and Chris Reynolds and Calbert and those guys, I think all of us would say Calbert established it day one. And that's the opportunity these guys have next Monday.
Yeah, that rings home for sure. And to steal a little line from Kurt Signetti, nobody has a job. You have to fight for your job every day.
Yep.
And in basketball, that's even more the case normally because it's such a smaller unit. So your minutes can be sucked up by some dude at any time.
Sure.
They could outwork you that quick. And so, yeah, I would imagine. And when you don't have a known star on this team, this is your opportunity to be the guy or be one of the guys to get those minutes.
And so you made a good analogy earlier. I think they might be a little bit like the Pacers in that, I've watched Tucker DeVries play quite a bit. I watched him a lot at Drake. And he's not a selfish player at all. Just because he's the coach's son and, the biggest name on this team, I don't think he's going to come in demanding things that are unreasonable. I think he's going to play like the oldest veteran player on the team and probably the most talented player on the team. But I think he's going to help the younger guys come along and they're going to see how good he is. And they're going to try to up their games. Like, everyone's competitive at this level. That's one of the things we always have to refer back to. When you go in and see, like when I went in and saw Pat Graham was a better shooter than me, yeah, I worked harder. No question about it. Like, there's no doubt it made me work hard. The competition and the competitive spirit makes you want to be better. It made me want to be a better shooter than him. And
how could some redneck hick from Southern Indiana be a better shooter than you?
Yeah, there's only one. No, I'm kidding. But it's one of those scenarios that in an athlete's life, sometimes you get smacked in the mouth a little bit, and you understand. Hold on, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. But I'll tell you this, I was by far the least heralded player coming in our class of 7 that came in. Like, no, I was the last one to sign. I was the last one to get an offer. I'll say it that way, not just sign. But I'll tell you, I walked in there with my chest out, and the reason being because I won a state championship, and Pat Graham didn't.
Exactly.
And Chris Lawson didn't, and Greg Graham didn't, and Calvert didn't, and so I did have a little cockiness to me going in there. But hey,
but you have to.
Calvert wiped that off my face real quick. About the first time he dunked on me in that summer workout, I forgot all about that ring that was on my finger.
But you have to have that cockiness.
Sure,
to a degree.
If you don't, you'll never be really, really good.
You'll get destroyed.
Yeah.
They will eat you up. So no, to be fair, and I was just kidding about the redneck hillbilly.
No, I know.
Inside joke.
He would laugh at it too. Trust me.
Oh, and for those of you that are listening, that's always been Todd's joke about all of us redneck hillbillies from Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
Speaking of redneck hillbillies in Southern Indiana, how about AJ Moye becoming the athletics director at Jeffersonville now? Actually, Sharon Wilkerson's boss.
Yeah, well, keep winning state championships, and you'll be able to tell your boss whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Sharon will be moving on from there. He wins a few more state championships, but yeah, just a cool scenario. Like, the whole thing is awesome. AJ stayed involved in Moye stayed involved in basketball and athletics, being up at Valpo and all that all this time. So yeah, it's a good scenario all the way around. And the more basketball people you can have involved in that program from Indiana, the better they're going to be, because they're proving. I don't think that was a fluke what they pulled off last year. I think they're going to keep having kids come out of there that are really good.
They almost did it the year before as well. Todd Leary from myjumpshot.com. Make sure you go there. Get your kids, your neighbors, bring them all. Get them all signed up.
Right.
Todd Leary, appreciate you, my friend.
Yep. We'll see you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend. More coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Chris Denari, he'll join us next. We're back with more.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Friday, heading into the weekend, and a visit from the TV voice of the Indiana Pacers, Chris Denari. And Chris, they couldn't get it done last night, but that's because they want to finish the Knicks in 6.
I'll tell you what, it was very disappointing last night to watch. I watched it with over 10,000 fans at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. We had a great watch party. Unfortunately, the game didn't go the way you wanted, but you did what you had to do early in this series. You won 2 games at Madison Square Garden, gave up 1 at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, but you still have home court advantage. And to your point, Jim, you have a chance to win the series tomorrow night at home, do it in front of your home fans, and go to the NBA Finals. And I have a great belief in this team that they'll bounce back. They've bounced back all year. I think we all know that in a 7-game playoff series, you have different kinds of games, hard to sustain momentum. Indiana had by far one of its worst offensive games of the year last night. It was their 6th worst shooting night. They shot just 41% from the field. The starters scored 37 points. Now, remember in game 4, Halliburton and Siakam both had 30 points in that game. But the 37 points, the second fewest that the Pacers starters had scored this year. They scored 31 against the Knicks back in October. So, it just tough night. Give the Knicks a lot of credit. They had their backs to the wall. They had a really good game plan, played really well. Brunson and Towns were good. The Pacers were bad, and New York now trails just 3-2.
Yeah, and the only playoff game this year that the Pacers did not crack the 100-point scoring mark, I think. So that obviously defense New York had something that they had to put on, because the Pacers can put the points on the board. When they score 120, you can't beat them hardly.
I just thought the pace was played at New York's pace. And Indiana uncharacteristically had a bunch of turnovers too, Jim. I mean, that second unit struggled. They had 7 turnovers, the Pacers, in the third quarter, when it looked like they might have a chance to get back in the game. A couple of times they got it to 10 or 12, and then the Knicks would go on a long run. Just a lot of uncharacteristic things, but that's going to happen. And again, you put yourself in the position, though, to win the Eastern Conference at home tomorrow night. And, I was talking to Eddie White on our post-game show last night on the Pacers Radio Network that, Jim, back in October, if you would have had all of us sitting at a table and put a document in front of us that said the Pacers will have a chance to go to the NBA Finals by winning Game 6 at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, you would have signed it immediately. So that's something to put in a little bit of perspective on a day where you're down a little bit because of how the Pacers played. But again, they have a real opportunity tomorrow night at home to still do what they hope to do.
Absolutely. And to just be in this position is, you would take this every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And no one expected, I didn't expect this to be a sweep. New York was not going to just lay down. They knocked off the reigning champion. They have very good players. These are professional players. You're in potentially one of the toughest road environments in sports at Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's not like that everything was lined up for the Pacers, and they don't need me to make excuses for them. It's a pro game. So but I'd like to see them. I think the fans would like to see them get it done tonight. I know they'd like to have seen them get it done last night, but it'd be even nicer if they can get it done in Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Yeah, I just thought, getting off to the slow start, the Pacers never led in the game. They were always battling from behind. Brunson scored the first 6 points. And I think a real issue to watch, too, as much as we focused on Karl Anthony Towns and his availability, and he played last night and I thought played well, again, is Aaron Nesmith, who suffered that ankle injury a couple of games ago. He played with it in game 4 and I thought played well. Last night he played 16 minutes and was not very effective. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, plane flights can affect those ankles. He had one to New York, and then he had one coming back last night after the game. That will be something to watch tomorrow, because he's essential when it comes to trying to limit Jalen Brunson. And when the Pacers have to go to Andrew Nembhard or Ben Shepherd, they just haven't been as effective.
Yeah, and I was talking with Todd Leary earlier. The great thing about the Pacers is with the Knicks, you know what you're going to get. A lot of Jalen Brunson and a lot of Karl Anthony Towns. With the Pacers, yeah, it might be a lot of Tyrese this game. It may be Aaron Nimhard this game. It may be Pascal Siakam this game. It may be Aaron Nesmith. You don't know who it's going to be. You expect Siakam to do this, and you expect Tyrese to do that, but these other dudes, man, they've all, as Todd said, they've all been the leading scorer at one time or another on this team. So that gives the Pacers something that I don't think that even Oklahoma City has.
Yeah, and I do think the Pacers being back home, again, home is not a given that you'll win the game, but I do think being back home in front of a raucous crowd, a chance to go to the NBA Finals will be big. And I do anticipate Tyrese Halliburton bouncing back. I mean, he had such an unbelievable game in Game 4, a game that you've never seen before. The 30 points, the 15 assists, the 10-plus rebounds, 5 3-point field goals, and 0 turnovers. And then last night, just 8 points, only took 7 shots. He's got to do more. There's no question about that. So that'll be something to look at tomorrow night. But again, I look back at last year, Jim. Last year, the series was tied 2-2. Indiana went to New York and got beat by 30. They got beat by 30 in Game 5 and then went to Gainbridge Fieldhouse to win Game 6 and then ultimately won Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. So Indiana has done this before where, they've come off a bad performance and they've always answered back. They've done that this year. They've not lost 2 straight games since early March. So it's still right there for the Pacers to take. Home court advantage is still there, and they have a chance to go to the NBA Finals with a win tomorrow night.
Yeah, which will be spectacular. The city of Indianapolis will be just riding highs and has been for the entire month of May as this continues. And while we're talking about the month of May, of course, the Indianapolis 500, I did not realize this was your last 500.
Yeah, I made the decision. My wife and I I've been out at the track for 26 years on the radio network, 24 in turn 4, and probably been out there 30 plus years. I think the only race I haven't worked in the last 30 years was in 2014 when the Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals and we were doing post-game shows and I was in Miami. And, just looking at my calendar, from October to April, I do 80 plus games. I'm on the road half the time. We've got 2 grandsons down in Myrtle Beach, plus the one up here. And so I just need a little bit more flexibility in the summer around the 500. Also, I'm a part of the NASCAR broadcast on the Brickyard. And, that usually takes a week. So you start adding those days up and it just felt like the right time, to step away. It's been a great run. Doug Bowles surprised me with an actual brick from the original track for my years with the IMS radio network. So yeah, it was a great run, but I thought it was just time to let somebody else go to turn 4, and it also gives me opportunity during the summer to spend a little bit more time with family, especially my son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandsons. They're down in South Carolina.
Well, good for you, good for them, and the fans they'll learn to adjust to not having you there. Do the guys just kind of rotate 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to turn 4, and somebody new in turn 1, or?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know what they'll do. I mean, I let Chris Pollock know, who's the GM of IMS Radio, probably a month or so ago, a couple months ago, that's what I was thinking. But they've got some really good candidates that have worked at IMS Radio. I don't know if they'll shift or how they'll do it, but that'll be something that they'll make a decision with. And, Nick Yeoman's great in 1, Michael Young in 2, Jake Query in 3. So yeah, it's one of those, it's weird, Jim, because last weekend I was doing the race with them, and this weekend they'll be in Detroit, all those people. And I may be out mowing my yard with my headset on, listening to these guys. Yet last week I was a part of the broadcast. So, somebody asked me if this was hard to do. And I said, not really. I did it 7 or 8 years ago when I walked away. I'd done 18 years as the primary voice, radio and TV of the Indiana Fever. And I just decided, with my wife and family that, I was doing 120 games a year, 80 Pacer games and 30 to 40 Fever games. And I just felt like it was time to do that. So I've done this before. It felt right. I feel good about it. And we'll look forward to being out there at times. I'm sure I'll take my grandson out, to practice or qualifying, but it'll give me a chance on Memorial Day weekend to either decide to go to the race or do some things with the family.
Yeah, well, congratulations, man, and thank you for all of those great years. We certainly enjoyed it. I know I do, and I love that. I love the race calls when you have the radio guys in the turns and how it's just handed off like a baton, so smoothly. The interchanges, they're just mesmerizing almost.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot about myself as a broadcaster. I've told people that the biggest thing when you're on the IMS radio network, you have to be a really good listener because you can only see a portion of the track. So you really have to pay attention to what the other guys are saying because you don't know what's going to happen especially when they come out of turn 3 and they get to the short shoot, especially if there's a pass. So you really have to listen. I had to listen a lot to Jake to make sure I knew exactly what was happening as they come from turn 3 into the short shoot into turn 4. And the thing that I will say too, I was on the Fan Morning Show on Monday, Memorial Day, the day after the race. And I think there was some concern that I was retiring from the Pacers. And I said, oh, no, that's not the case. I'm not retiring from broadcasting. I've just decided that I'm not going to do the Indianapolis 500 from now on. I still have many years to go as the voice of the Pacers.
And we're certainly glad to hear that. Would not be as much fun. Pacers are back at it, man, tomorrow night at home. I'm sure you'll be. I was at game 3, by the way, of course. So that means I won't go go again because I don't want that responsibility. Absolutely do not want that responsibility. But it's been so much fun watching the excitement that they continue to bring to not only the city of Indianapolis, but the state of Indiana, carrying on the basketball flag. And it's just fun to watch them. I remember when early in the year when we were talking and they were fluttering back and forth, man, they were bouncing. I don't remember how far they got down. It wasn't terribly far, but it wasn't, they weren't in the top 3 when we were talking about it. And then they got up to there and okay, well that'll be all right. But I don't know that anyone really, or I didn't expect to see this kind of a run because they have just been pretty commanding in both of these series so far.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They started 10-15. They were the 11th best team in the NBA. That was even outside the play-in back in December. And yet from January 1 on, they had one of the top 4 records in the NBA. So they definitely turned things around, just like I think they can turn things around tomorrow night. Again, look at the Oklahoma City, Minnesota series. It was a 4-1 advantage for OKC, a dominant performance against Minnesota. But guess what? The one game they lost, Jim, they lost by 40 points. So that's sort of the nature of the playoffs. You got to sort of push that one aside. I think Rick Carlisle does a great job with his team to focus on the task ahead. You can't look back, whether you're trying to celebrate a win or mourn a loss. You just have to focus on the next day and the next game. And I'm sure that's what Rick and his staff are doing with the team as they get ready for tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And hopefully it is a party in Indianapolis. I know they had a big party down there. Like you said, 10,000 people. That's a lot of people to go to take the time to go downtown, to park, to go into the stadium, to watch a game on TV. Although, albeit it's a daggone big-ass TV.
Yeah, and you know what I think is great, Jim, is the way the Pacers have done it. There were a number of, I'm sure, season ticket holders there, but there were a lot of people that don't have tickets or don't buy tickets that were able to bring their families to the game last night. I mean, last Friday we did it. I think you had between 8,000 and 10,000. Last night was easily over 10,000 because there were people up in the balconies, and there were not people in the balconies last Friday when we did it. So I know they were all disappointed, but the Pacers put on a great show from a game entertainment standpoint. The Pacemates were there, the Power Pack, Boomer. It felt like you were at a game, and that's what they were trying to do. And we'll be at the game tomorrow night, no question.
Absolutely, and hopefully you're bringing them home a win, man, as they'll head into Game 6, looking to close out the Knicks in 6.
I like that.
I can already see that on a T-shirt.
That's right. Knicks in 6.
Beat Knicks in 6.
Yeah, beat the Knicks in 6.
Now, I wonder if Spike Lee is going to come. He was very colorfully dressed last night.
Yeah, he was. I saw the pregame show, where he was sitting with Reggie, which it was cool to see those two converse back and forth about what happened 25 years ago. But I'm very confident that the Pacers can win this in 6. Again, they've bounced back all year from rough performances, and I think they'll do it again.
Absolutely. Chris Denari, the television voice of the Indiana Pacers, kind enough to join us on this Friday. Look forward to talking to you soon, my friend. Enjoy the weekend.
Jim. All right. Thanks.
You betcha. Hey, we've got lots more coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios, including Alec Lazley from the Hoosier.com. All that and more on the other side.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Friday. Thank you so much for taking time to spend with us. Hope you had a good week. Ready for the weekend? What are your plans? You got the Pacers that are playing tomorrow night, Saturday night in Indianapolis, Game 6 of the NBA playoffs to see if they can close out the New York Knicks in 6 and reach the NBA Finals against Oklahoma City. Alec Lazley from the Hoosier.com joining us now. And make sure you go to the Hoosier.com, get yourself a subscription for only $1 on the first month, 50% off the rest of the entire year as they are pouring out the content, my friend. And plenty happening this week as the event at Huber's
has come and gone. This past Wednesday, we got to meet with Darren DeVries again for just the first time since his introductory press conference. And then, of course, Curt Signetti held court, and he definitely held court. He was he should have his own reality show, I think.
Definitely his own talk show. I mean, he loves to interact with the media. He loves to interact with the fan base, and so events like that are perfect. And he brings the exact personality that you need for booster events, right? In the world of NIL, I don't think there's a better representation within a community than obviously what's been able to match with Signetti and this Indiana fan base, and obviously he loves and enjoys every second of it.
Absolutely, he does, and he's good at it. And you're right; you hit a key point there. These booster events, these NIL events, he is a natural at that, and there's no act. There's no that's him, man. You're getting the real deal with him. And something I noticed with Darren, he was a lot more comfortable after getting past that first interview. It's a lot. You're coming to a big time program, and it's Indiana, and there are expectations before you walk in the door. So that's a lot to hit you in the face, but you can tell he has gotten acclimated to it. And if he can just get Indiana basketball headed in the right direction, Indiana athletics will be at the greatest point it has ever been at in its history, I would have to think. Now, that's maybe not fair to say, considering the fact that they've won national championships in basketball. But if they can get back to being competitively at an elite level, at least with football the way it is, that has never been a time to where that has been a sustained thing at Indiana.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also a critical time to do it with the landscape of college athletics too, right? So I mean, there was never, not to say there was never the pressure to win at this type of level, but with NIL, with boosters, with this sort of college environment, the way that it is over the last couple of years, and the way that it's obviously moving in the next couple of years, it's imperative to win now and win right away. And obviously we saw what's transpired at Kentucky. We saw what transpired at Louisville. Their ability to win right away, and the momentum that they're able to ride into the first kind of true off season. Right, last year they were both Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey were just playing catch up of obviously trying to rebuild a program, and that's where Darren DeVries is at right now. But if you're able to win in year one, and you're able to bring that excitement back, especially with an historic program that obviously Indiana is, and then be able to ride the momentum from a successful college football season into a successful college basketball season, and go into your first off season riding that wave of momentum. There's not a better place to do that than in Indiana, with the fan base as starving as it is for success on the basketball court. And we saw what this fan base can be like when there's success on both the football and the basketball side, but we haven't been able to see it together, right? I mean, that's been the one missing piece. And let's be honest, you look around all of college athletics, and there's not many programs that have an elite basketball and an elite football program, right? Auburn has kind of shifted and is now more on the basketball side, right? I think you kind of look and probably, Alabama is that one program that has really been able to master both the basketball and the football side. But outside of that, you don't have the consistency really anywhere around the country year in and year out. So Indiana's at a really, really important spot to be able to kind of capture what is the strength of this program, this university, and that's the basketball side, and do it in a very, very, very big, important way this year. But I think you have the right guy to do it. I mean, this is a guy who, albeit may not have the same personality as Curt Signetti. He has the same foundation, the same type of culture that he wants to build as Curt Signetti. And obviously it's built differently on the football and the basketball side, clearly. But they are now, I think, the first time in quite some time that both your major revenue generating coaches are on the same page with the administration of what they want to accomplish, how they want to build this athletic department. And I think there's, again, not a more critical time to do that than right now with obviously two coaches pretty much fresh in Bloomington from obviously Darren DeVries' his first year, and then obviously Kurt Signetti going into his second year.
Yeah, and I didn't really think about that either. The timeline of how close both of these guys are starting out their tenures in Bloomington. There's usually always been overlap of some kind, and here it's a pretty fresh thing. And on the football side of things, we all know it's been great. And basketball, that is yet to be seen, but I agree with you. I think that he is going to be a guy, just a blue collar type of guy who gets it done, whose teams get it done. And when you have a blue collar type of coach, you're going to have a blue collar type of team. Hopefully it's a blue collar team with elite talent, because now you have the best of both worlds: scrappiness, get after itness, doggedness, and talent.
No, absolutely. And I think that's, the one thing that, from talking with the transfers that are coming into Indiana, with talking with high school players now that are obviously starting to get associated with different coaches on the coaching staff here, getting offers extended, right? The major thing and the first thing that every single one of them is talking about is how genuine Darren DeVries is, how down to earth he is, how almost relaxed he is, and very confident and comfortable in his own skin. And that's the thing that, right? I mean, more so from the transfer portal guys, because this is now probably the second, third, fourth time, right, that they've been going through these recruitments, and they know really how to read through the BS, right? And to be able to portray that message and really have that shine through is going to go such a long way with this coaching staff, because the assistants, I don't know a time that Indiana's had the connections from their assistant coaches, from all of them, right? Not just from one of them, but from all of them that you're now seeing, that can get this program in early, get kids on campus early, and start to build not even build those relationships, because they already have them, right? I mean, Rod Clark is still, relatively in the sense of, fresh out of high school. That's only been about 5-6 years since he's been in the grassroots system. Kenny Johnson, right? Only about 3 years since he's been in the grassroots system. So these two specifically have the connections with high level talent that you typically don't get right away when you're coming in with a fresh coaching staff. Obviously, we already know what Drew Adams has in the Midwest, and especially with the state of Indiana. That's imperative, and that's critical to the kind of multitude of potential success that this program can have in state. And then Nick Norton, right, continues to build the relationships in the Midwest too. So you have connections all over. If you're able to get these kids in now early, right, then it's about the head coach's involvement. And that's one thing that has really lacked from Indiana over the last two staffs, has been the head coach involvement early on in recruitments. Every single high school kid that I've talked to so far has said that they've already talked with Darren DeVries. That's something that never happened with Mike Woodson. That's something that didn't happen until the very end of Archie Miller's tenure, because he was trying to play catch up at that point. So he knows how critical it is for a head coach to be involved. He knows how critical it is to really be able to portray and relay the actual message that he wants for this culture to be set. And we heard it on Wednesday and at Huber's, right? He talked about how when he was searching for guys to build this team, yes, it's imperative to win right now, but he wanted to make sure that he had guys who could lay out the foundation and the groundwork for what was to come in the coming years, right? And that shows with all the guys that he was able to get. But I think it shows that, all of these guys, and he talked about this too, when you have no returning players, it's difficult, but it's also a little bit easier because you don't have to try to force someone into your vision. And he talked about this, and I think, Jim, it was your question that got him to say this, but he said that, you don't have to try to get these guys to buy in, right? Either they're going to like your vision or they're not. And the fact that you have a really good core group of 11 players who are coming in fresh, right? Outside of Tucker DeVries and Connor Enright, these are guys who have never talked with this coaching staff or even seen them in person before maybe they even committed. Obviously, they haven't even been on campus yet to move in. That's coming in the next couple of weeks. So to have these guys buy into your vision without really seeing any other pieces around you, that just should show how much confidence this team has in this coaching staff and in Darren DeVries, but really what his vision and his communication style really is with these recruits.
And while I agree with every bit of that, and several great points there, Alec. And we look what they're doing now. As soon as he was able to get the team pretty much finished, we also know that he said that hey, they are not, the door has not been closed on the potential of adding yet another player if that pops up. And another staff member, but did that staff member already get filled? Because I know that something happened in the last couple of days, so I'm not sure if that's what he was talking about, or if there's still yet a staff, because they've been so slow to officially announce all these guys. But what I've seen in the recruiting out for next year, for 26, for 27 already, they're getting after it. I mean, as soon as they got the roster is seemingly in place and the staff seemingly in place, bam, like you said, they were out. And not only were they out, they were doing the things that you just mentioned, talking to these recruits, making contact with these recruits, establishing a relationship with these recruits, getting in front of them, showing them that they're serious, doing the things that you have to do to make them feel needed, wanted, that you want them to be a part of your system, all the things that you have to do to these kids to draw them in, already doing that. And that is amazing.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, they have they have the vision in place. Now it's about being able to what he said as well. Darren DeVries talking about being able to put everything that's on paper on the floor, right? Being able to translate all of that, but the first couple steps are complete, right? That's the most difficult part. Now it's about really being able to showcase that, obviously at a national level and winning, because none of this other stuff matters if you're not winning. And I think he knows that, and he knows how important it is to win right away for this fan base. And I think the fan base it's interesting. I think they've been, not to say hurt, right, over the last 8 years, but there's been varying levels of expectations over the last two coaching staffs each and every year. Some years very high expectations, some years very low expectations in terms of from a national standpoint, right? I think the fan base always expects at a bare minimum, right, making the NCAA tournament and then advancing and being a team that can be a second weekend team. And there's obviously been none of that within the last 2 decades here. And you have to go back even farther to have that consistently, right, towards the end of Tom Crean's era. But it's interesting talking to fans over the last couple of weeks, because they don't, it's weird. It's not to say they don't have high expectations, but they're not, I guess I should say they're not expecting a lot. They still have high expectations, but they're expecting themselves to get hurt with that, which is interesting, because I don't think they don't know a lot about Darren DeVries yet, right? No one, from an outsider's perspective really does. And obviously an entire new staff, an entirely new set of players outside of Trent Sicily that a lot of obviously Indiana fans know about. So they don't, this is probably the best case scenario, right? Because no one really knows what to expect. And so while a lot of the fans still expect an NCAA tournament, they really are going to have to wait to have any sort of true legitimate expectation until January, February, right? Because there's just so many different pieces and moving pieces here in the last just 2 months that they still haven't been on campus and started practicing. They obviously get those 10 extra practices before going to Puerto Rico, which I think is extremely crucial for this circumstance of a brand new team. So we'll know a little bit about him in August when we see him out on the floor. But the true expectations probably won't come until we get maybe a third of the way through Big Ten play, and you really know what this team is, which I think is very different from years past, because you knew what the style of play was with Mike Woodson, you knew what the style of play was with Archie Miller. So come the second, third, fourth years, right? You had at least a thought and a visualization of what those expectations should be. Now you really have no idea, and it could go either way in the sense of being a second weekend team. Some people that I've talked to think Indiana has the talent and the skill set and the pieces that complement each other to potentially reach that. Others think they may just kind of squeak into the NCAA tournament. I think either way, right? That's at least a successful first year with everything that's gone on. But it's just interesting to see that, because there just seems to be a sense of not really knowing what to expect, and I don't think I've sensed that from the fan base in quite some time.
Yeah, and ironically, it's a good thing, because there's not the doom and gloom feeling. You don't know what it's going to be like, and you don't know how good they can be, because it's going to be a tough league. This is not this. You're not going to walk in and slap Michigan around and slap Purdue around and Illinois and all of these teams. So it's going to be a battle, and it could be a great year. Who knows? I don't know. We don't. That's the thing about college sports now. Even some of the other teams, well, unless it's like Louisville, I think they're going to be really good. They seem like they've really loaded up. Certain teams, Michigan. That's why I think Michigan might be the team to beat in the Big Ten, not Purdue. Not that Purdue won't be right there. They will be. But I think Michigan has also added great talent. What's Illinois going to be like with all of those Eastern European guys they brought in? We don't know, because they brought in a load. Louisville just added a European guy to their roster. And so there's so much unknowns that until it gets going. But the good thing is, I think that already fans should be able to get a sense of how they are recruiting, how Darren DeVries is recruiting, that it's going to be okay. Everything. It's like Kevin Bacon and Animal House. Everything is going to be okay, except for he's not getting ran over. It will be okay, but you might. Rick Bozich pointed out how ironic is it for the football coach to be telling the fans, just give the basketball coach a little time. Ironic as hell, but it's true. In this case, it is actually true, and it doesn't take long for you to see how a direction is going. We got a pretty. I got a pretty quick indication with Archie Miller, and it didn't take long with like Woodson's inability to change what he was doing. So we'll find out soon enough. But I think it's going to be a fun time, and for Indiana fans and IU athletics, because you're going into a football season in which is going to be good. You just don't know how good it's going to be. That's a great feeling to have. And boy, if basketball can follow off of that. Indiana is not one of the biggest schools in the Big Ten, but man, they could be doing some serious big time things if they can get to that point. As you pointed out earlier, not many schools get to have elite programs in both of those main sports.
No, absolutely. And again, you're gonna probably this is the first year in quite some time that you're going to actually go into the football. And I know some people went into the football season way more excited about the football year than the basketball expectations last year, right? With the fresh new coach and Kurt Signetti and everything that he was able to do, mainly because of what he said in the public eye leading into the season, right? But this is now, because you're coming off of a college football playoff appearance, you have the expectation to go right back there this year. That is the goal, and that is not a far-fetched goal for this program. You have the talent, you have a lot of key returners from that team, and obviously you bring in some really talented players. From all accounts, a higher expectation, better skill level quarterback than what you had last year in a top 10 Heisman voting candidate in Curtis Rourke, right, with Fernando Mendoza coming in. So the excitement level for football is going to be through the roof, and it's going to be interesting because the basketball program is going to be flying underneath the radar a little bit. They come back from Puerto Rico. There's going to be a lot of talk for the next 2-3 weeks following that, and then you're right into football season. So the basketball program is 100% going to be flying underneath the radar for probably the first time in quite some time, and I think that's good. It's good for both programs, right? The football and the basketball side, because that excitement is going to bleed right into basketball season, regardless of how the season finishes up for Indiana football. But again, I just don't know the last time that a basketball season with a new coach is going to be flying underneath the Indiana football program radar here. So it's going to be an exciting fall. It's going to be an exciting summer. But again, a lot of people, I think, are just cautiously optimistic about this basketball start. And I think a lot of people are more anxious because they've been through this now, 2 different coaches. This is now the 3rd coach in the last 6 years.
I was thinking about that yesterday.
So right, it's a more or less of a, here we go again. Let's not get the expectations up too high. But I think that's why it's good that you have the football team to fall back on, because it takes away, I think, a lot of that angst going into the fall and then going into the winter, where there's probably going to be some rough moments. But I think, again, once you get to January, February, I think you're going to really see the basketball side of things turn into what that kind of culture setting first year is expected to be under Darren DeVries.
Alec Lazley from Hoosier.com with us. We'll take a pause for the cause and come right back and chat at you a little more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Friday. So happy to have you along. Hope your week went well and you got a great weekend coming up. Not a lot going on this weekend, Alec. Just kind of finally, with the exception of the Pacers, which is a huge deal with Game 6 coming up tomorrow night. So it's not like it's nothing. But nothing where we have to just chase. And this might be one of the first weekends since the end of the season when something, the month of May was crazy with Indianapolis and the Kentucky Derby and all the other things coming up. But actually, I take that back because we've got the All-Star stuff coming up.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a little bit of a slower time, right? But then you get into the month of June, which is high school events. So you have Charlie Hughes coming up, which we'll be at, and a live evaluation period. So the coaches will be out there. Then you get right into 4th of July, and by the time you get there, then you get into Peach Jam and the Adidas Finals and everything like that from a recruiting aspect.
Football media days.
Exactly. So then it just seems like, there's probably the next 2-3 weeks, maybe, kind of that quote unquote slower dead time. But outside of that, there's not a lot. Once you get to Charlie Hughes, it feels like, you're kind of struggling to catch your breath in a little again, because you look into what July has to offer, and then right after July, Puerto Rico, you get back from Puerto Rico, football season's here, and then things come at you quick. And I know that you know that, but it seems like, you have about a couple weeks here, and then things ramp back up again, going full go into the college football season.
And I'm sure the fans are happy with that. They're ready for football. I'm ready for this football season. Excited to see how this goes for not only Indiana, the Big Ten. It's another exciting year as we get into a college football season with straight seeding. If Indiana can make it back, the odds are that they will be in a lot better shape, unless that they barely were to make it in, and that's usually not the case. If you're making it in, unless you're guaranteed a spot or something, you're probably going to be like they were last year, where they would have hosted a home game had the seeding been straight seeding then. And how much of a difference would that have made? Like Signetti said, if this changes, if this was last year, it goes, we're a home game as a favorite. And so, who knows what, I'm not saying that would have mattered for them beating Notre Dame, but it would have gotten them another week of playing, or another game of playing, and a little more respect, because they ended the season with everyone pretty much disrespecting them, judging them before everything was in, because they deserved to be there, and they were as good as probably a couple. They were probably better than 3 teams that were in the CFP.
Yeah, I mean, they had a much more respectable game than Tennessee did, and I think everyone thought Tennessee was, one of the better teams.
The vaunted SEC.
Exactly. So I mean, it's.
But do you notice no one talked about that? That's what cracked me up. No one compared.
Because then they were talking about Boise State. They were talking about Arizona State before Arizona State made the big comeback there in the second half, right? Because they struggled in the first half. It was, I think regardless, right? I mean, this is, I think, right where Curt Signetti wants to be. And I think he loves, and I think everyone knows this now, which is just crazy that people continue to doubt him. But I think he absolutely loves to live in this world of doubt against him and his team, and kind of him against all the national media, and even some more regional media that are still like, well, that was 1 year, let's see if he can do it again. Well, I mean, yeah, but at what point do you start to give him the credit that he deserves, because he's won everywhere, and he's not just won, right? I mean, he's won 8 or 9 games, and I think every year except for one. But he's had an above 500 record, never a losing season, never a 500 season. So
he's got more stats memorized than anybody I've ever seen, because when he talks, he just fires them off. Like the other night at Hubert, we gave up the second least amount of points last year. I mean, just firing them off, pop, 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 and they were all true. Number 2 defense in the country, top 2 offense in the country. Didn't trail in the game until the 9th game. It's just, hell, I almost have them memorized from hearing them from him.
Yeah, and I think that goes to it, because he and again, I talked about this earlier, but he loves to talk. and he loves to bring a lot of the fire.
In a positive way.
Yeah, no, exactly. But if you're going to do that, you need to be able to, have this stuff not only memorized, but be able to put it on the field. And when you're able to translate that from setting high expectations before the season begins to steamrolling the first 7-8 games on your schedule, and now a lot of people are trying to hop on the bandwagon, but yet 1 foot in, 1 foot out because they haven't quote unquote played anyone, even though they just beat the two teams that played in the national championship the year before, including the national champion. Right? I mean, the rosters are totally different. Yeah, I get that, but this is still a team that had won 9 games combined in the previous 3 seasons, and only 3 Big Ten games. So this is not like Indiana was a strong Power 5, Power 4, team. This was a bottom of the barrel Big Ten team, and you look around, and there weren't many teams that had struggled the way that they did against mediocre competition. So to be able to turn it around like he did, right? He has the platform now to be able to talk because he's shown it, and it's mind-boggling to see so many people continue to doubt him and to doubt this program. But again, it's exactly what he wants. It's exactly where he wants to be. So I expect nothing less than kind of what they showed last year this upcoming year, because I think he'll have them ready.
You're exactly right. He does have them exactly where he wants to be. He does love to be doubted because he has great confidence in himself and his system and his guys and his coaches, his staff, his players. We saw that with him bringing those guys he brought with him. He did that because he had great confidence in them being the type of players they were, the type of players that are now All-Americans on this level. People doubted them so much as well. Aiden Fisher, yeah, well, how about him? D'Angelo Pons, how about him? Mikal Kamara, how about him? So, yeah, I'm sure he'd say, yeah, keep doubting us. But you just don't doubt us at the end. When don't let doubt be disrespect. And it's hard to turn around that notion. It's hard to say Indiana football without thinking Indiana football. But we talk about his personality. His personality also went a long way. It was huge in part of the impact, and it goes a long way in spreading the message because radio, TV, everybody wants a little Signetti now. And he is a great ambassador for Indiana football. And he'll do that all day long because that's going to help his program continue to get better faster.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a great ambassador for the Big Ten too. I mean, it's you have, Ryan Day is someone who I don't think a lot of people outside of Ohio truly, love. He's also not someone who goes out and talks a lot, right?
Well,
so
I don't know who outside of Columbus would not like me. I think I'm the best coach in the Big Ten.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously everything that's going on in Ann Arbor and Michigan, and all the still the allegations around that staff that's still partially there, right? No one really likes that, but no one really likes Signetti outside.
How does Michigan? Speaking of Michigan, how do you not clean house? How do you get rid of that? Was a stink, a stain, a bad one, and they left people in place that were culpable, that were a part of that. And that just floors me that they were able to get away with it.
I mean,
I don't mean I meant without there being more of an uproar.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of the, you're no matter, what the sport is, right? It's
Michigan.
You're gonna get away with it if you're that brand, both on the basketball and the football side. I mean, it is what it is, regardless of kind of the level of severity. If it were Ohio State, the same thing would happen. So I'm not surprised.
So this will be 3 years in a row, if I'm correct, that a Michigan football coach will have suspensions coming
before the season even starts. Well, one of them came during the season, didn't it? But 3 straight years, the head football coach suspended for games, and it's different coaches. That is a horrible look. But they don't care because they just pay the money, bring in the team, win. Just win, baby. Just win.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they have nothing to worry about. They're supposed to be better this year, right? With the expectations of Bryce Underwood under center there, the freshman quarterback. So obviously Indiana doesn't get them, but will be interesting to see kind of how the whole Big Ten plays out and shakes out. I mean, a lot of changeover with a lot of the rosters. Obviously, Penn State, the one team that seems to be at the top right now, which is crazy to think, since they've been the team that's kind of struggled to beat high-profile teams in the James Franklin era. But they return a lot, they bring a lot in. Obviously, Ohio State coming off a national championship still brings a lot back and brings a lot in. So will be interesting to see how the Big Ten shakes up. But I think you're starting potentially to see a little bit of a change in the national perspective of the overall state of where the Big Ten is versus where it was 2 years ago, which is good to see, because the Big Ten, I think, is slightly underrated in the sense of what they have kind of top to middle portion of the conference, and I think it gets overlooked at times just by what the SEC does, just because it's the SEC. And I think you saw that last year, obviously the year before with Michigan. So it's a good time for Indiana to now make the shift, and who knows what they can do if they get back in it. It'll be crazy to think, though, Indiana and Illinois week 4 could be one of the biggest games of the college football season.
I talked about that earlier. I said that's going to be a tasty morsel, and with the times, we're about out of time, but that time that for that game is either going to be at noon, 3:30, or 4 o'clock, I think. But that means it's either going to be Fox Big Noon kickoff or CBS game, most likely. We'll see, but it will be a major player. Hey, make sure you go to thehoosier.com. Get subscribed. $1 for the first month, half off the rest of the year. Alec Lazley and crew doing a tremendous job there. Congratulations, guys.
I appreciate it, Jim. Any big plans for the weekend?
Man, I'm going to try to do as little as possible this weekend, to be honest with you. I'm tired.
Yeah, you never do as little as possible. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. Have a great one, buddy. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You bet. Alec Lazley from thehoosier.com. Man, big thanks to each and every one of you today for joining us, and everybody else on the program. We're back on Monday to do it again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle from the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.